Hi, welcome back to English 111 Online. This week we're going to start our Core Project 3. I'm doing them in out of order. We've already done Core Project 1. I'm going to save Core Project 2 till after we finish Core Project 3, just simply because I think it'll be easier for you to do it this way. So, what we're going to do, you want to look at the video, which you're doing right now. And there's another little short video, the Global Goals video, that's right here. I'm not going to play it for you now, but watch that, and it kind of gives you a cute little overview as to why these global goals are even important. So, you might want to watch that. You definitely want to look at the assignment sheet for Core Project 3, and I'll look at that with you right here. Let's see. Okay, so we have the, this is all kinds of things, this assignment is. It is a problem solution research paper, and you're going to be persuasive in the way that you write this. So it's a persuasive problem solution research essay. That's a mouthful. You are going to have to do research for this, and I'm going to have you start your research this week. So for this paper, you will have to have 5 to 6 primary or secondary sources. Primary sources would be the actual thing itself, like when we did Core Project 1 and the Our Future Selves was the primary source that we were using. Secondary source is when somebody else writes about somebody else's primary source. Formatting and citation, of course, MLA 9th edition, as always. And this paper is going to be 5+ pages, and do not worry about the length. Don't freak out when you see 5+, because if you put everything in here that I ask you to put in, you will be able to get those 5 pages with no problem whatsoever. The objective for this project, there are 17 global goals, and that have been created by the United Nations. And these are goals that the United Nations feel like need to be met in order to make our planet, our globe, a much better and safer place to live. So there are actually 17, but we're going to choose from the first 16. And you're going to find a goal that you're interested in. Surely one of those goals you'll be interested in. Read as much as you can about the goal of your choice, and in your exploration, you will see that there are problems that need to be solved in order to meet the goal that has been set for 2030. Check the targets that the UN has set to reach the goal. You will find solutions there, and then discover places in the world where people are doing something positive, which will lead to meeting the goal for 2030. So the problem is, in the problem solution paper, the problem is going to be anything that you use to, no, it's not. I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. The problem is what the goal addresses. So if the goal is no poverty, then of course the problem is poverty. And so that's the problem, and you're going to have an opportunity to write about that problem. How do we know that poverty, is a real problem that we need to be concerned about? Give me some facts and figures and things. So that's where your research is going to come in. And also the solutions. Well, the United Nations has already determined through their targets what kind of solutions would work to help meet the goal. And then the third part of the research is to just find places where that people are doing these successful things to meet the goal. And you're going to try to convince your reader that that everyone needs to be participating in this goal, these solutions, in order to meet the goal. Okay, so this is where you will start. Please start here at this link. You cannot do this project without this. And so please start here. The link is right in the document. Follow the link here. All right, so we're at the United Nations now, Department of Economic and Social Affairs for Sustainable Development. That's what we're trying to do. So right here where it says Discover the Goals, click that, and it takes you down to the 17 goals. We're not going to look at or choose from but the first 16 though. So here are the goals. Goal 1, end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Goal 2, end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Goal 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Goal 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Goal 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Goal 6, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Goal 7, ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Goal 8, promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Number 9, build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Goal 10, reduce inequality within and among countries. Goal 11, make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Goal 12, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Goal 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. 14, conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. 15, protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Goal 16, promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. So those are your 16. Ignore 17. So just choose from the first 16. How are you going to know which one you want to write about? Look at them. Just take a look at them. I'm going to pull up 5 because this is all my samples that I'm providing for you. I use goal 5. So let's just click on it and see. All right. So you can see it restates the goal there. There's some related topics here. You might want to click on that and see what that is, because that actually could be another source for you to use for your research paper. And by the way, this is your first source right here, the goal page for the one that you're working on. So like this would be the URL for this citation up here, up here in your browser. And so you're going to have 5 to 6 of these. You might want to check on that. You don't have to do it all at once. Just kind of look at it. First thing I want you to do is look at the overview, and they give you the overview in an infographic. And we just did infographics, so this ought to be easy for you to be able to pull information from this to use in your report. So look at it, read it. Anything that you think is good in there that you want to use in your paper, well, then make some notes on it. You need to be reading, searching, making notes right now. You're going to get horribly behind if you don't. So just start from day one and get it done. I'm going to actually have you do the assignment in steps. And I'm going to look at some of your paper beforehand. You're going to have an opportunity to submit this to Smart Thinking again and get their feedback. But just follow me and do each part as I assign it, and you'll have the whole thing together in no time. Don't try to just say, oh, I forget that, I'm going to go off and do this. It's so much easier if you just let me guide you and do it as I give it to you. All right, so the overview is something to look at. The other thing that I want you to particularly look at for this week is these targets and indicators up there. So when you click on that, you see all these individual targets. Here's one that says, end all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere. Well, that's too general to use as a solution. Yeah, let's just end it all. But sometimes if you look at the indicators, you can find something. Whether or not legal frameworks are in place to promote, enforce, and monitor equality and non-discrimination on the basis of sex. Whether or not legal frameworks are in place to promote, enforce, and monitor equality and non-discrimination on the basis of sex. So that's one of the things that you could actually look for. And the reason these targets are important, you're going to get some of your research terms that you need to look for when you're looking. Legal frameworks are in place to promote, enforce, and monitor equality and non-discrimination on the basis of sex. You might want to copy that, paste it into your search engine, whichever search engine you're using, and see what comes up with that. So I think the language is most important here. You're going to choose 3 of these targets, and it doesn't have to be, the first 3, but you're just going to find 3. Eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private spheres, including trafficking and sexual and other types of exploitation. So I think that's a good thing that you can look for, because there are all kinds of programs out there that are to prevent violence against women, and particularly to try to end trafficking of women and girls. So just look at these. You're going to pick 3. You're going to get some of your language from it, and you're going to come up with solutions, very general solutions, for to meet the goal. So in this infographic, you can see why it's important to have the goal. In this, you can see some of the specific things or the general things, but with very specific language that you can use for the solutions to the problem. And then there's also this, progress and info. Read that. See if there's anything in there that is going to be helpful to you, because I suspect that it is, that you will find information. So here's your first assignment, is to go to that Global Goals website. There's the link right there in the document. Choose a global goal to investigate, one of those first 16. Click on the global goal of your choice to begin reading and discovering and researching problems and solutions. And please take notes as you go. One way that I like to take notes is to pull up a blank Google Doc, and then just as I find information that I think, yeah, I want to put this in my paper, then I copy and paste it into the Google Doc, and I make a note of, um, if nothing more than the URL from the browser to go with the note. And then that way, when I get ready to write my actual essay, I'll set up a separate document for that and pull information that I've taken from notes. That is a way to do it. Some people like to make index cards and write all the stuff down, and that is a perfectly great way to do it also. But you're wasting your time if you're not taking notes as you research, because you're going to be researching to find some answers. All right, so it says click on the Targets tab to find specific language to help you find solutions for the problem, and then follow the links provided on the Global Goals website to gather information. If there is, like I said, there was that other goal, that other related article on Goal 5 right here, click on it and see what it is. And when you look at it, it has more information regarding that. Description, publications, events that are related to that, documents that are related to that, statements, milestones, and more information. Just start clicking and reading. That's the way to research. You're clicking and reading and taking notes. The other thing is you're going to, what are you trying to find? What do you need for your research paper? These questions right here. And right now, finding out what the UN 17 Global Goals are, and I don't mean listing them one is this, two is this. I mean the unit of the global goals. How was it? How did they come about doing the UN Global Goals? Why did they decide? When did this place? I'll give you a hint. 2015 is when these started, and the first goals were set for 2020. And a lot of good things were going on towards meeting the goal. They extended it to 2030, and then of course, everything was going great and getting better, and then 2020 COVID hit and caused a lot of damage in a lot of different areas with these goals. So read about it, find out about it. I know because I've looked and read and found out about it. Plus, I've read so many student papers on it. I feel well educated on it. But if you don't know much about it, then just go ahead and find out about it. Okay, so that information about what the global goals are, you're going to use that in your introduction paragraph. We're not going to write the introduction yet. I just want you to research right now. What is the particular goal you're exploring? Of course, you got to pick that. Why is the goal important? That's going to go in your background paragraph. And also this, what are some facts and figures that are interesting about your goal? And explain how important this goal, this problem is to have this goal to help solve it. What are the targets for your goal? That'll be in your introduction. Why does it matter? That's your background paragraph. And then we're going to look on for solutions. Where are these solutions being done? You're going to have to describe them to your reader so that your reader will understand what various organizations or areas or communities are doing. So all these questions are important, but right now I just want you to look for answers for, say, the first of these questions down through why does it matter? So, what are these goals anyway? Which is the one that you're chosen and you're going to explore? You want to tell what it is, what it's all about. You're going to say why it's important, and it's important because the problem is so severe. You're going to show us how severe the problem is. And then what are the targets? That goes in the introduction. And why does it matter? That goes in the background. So you're gathering information right now without writing this essay at all, because you've got to have the information before you can start writing. You have to do the research first. Okay, so back to our page for this week. There's the assignment document. You can't just use any old resources. I suggest that you follow this SCARAB method, considering each one of the sources that you find. Now, all those sources that you find through the Global Goals page are okay. They're good, and that should be your first source. That will be your first source. Don't do this without going there first, because the whole assignment is based on what you'll find at that website. All right, so the substance of it, who's the intended audience? Is it written for academics or others in the profession, the general public even maybe? This would be good. If it doesn't have much information and it doesn't have anything to do with your purpose, if it looks like it was written for children, then it's not a good source to use for a college paper. Currency. When was the information published or posted or updated? Especially if you're giving facts and figures related to your problem. Don't use old stuff. Find the most recent information that you can. Authority. Who created the information? If the author's name and credentials are provided, can be verified, you can see that this is a reputable publisher and all of that, then this is a good source. If it's not, you don't know who published it, nobody takes credit for it, there's not even anything on there that looks like people can add and take away stuff, and that's not a good source. Relevance, how important is the information to your needs? I mean, sure, you can find lots of things that are good sources, but if they don't have the information you're going to use in your paper, you're wasting your time. Accuracy, how correct is the content? Does it seem like it's very accurate? Does it have links to the sources or a list of sources they got the information from? And bias. Why does the information exist? If it's extremely one-sided, unfair, negative language, something that is meant to demean people, images that are misleading, that is not a good source for a college paper. But if its purpose is to inform, it's persuasive and supports its arguments well, the purpose is to share research, issues are examined fairly, primarily fact-based information, that's a good source to use. All right, if it's somebody's opinion and it's a blog, that is not good for a college research paper. There are some definitions down here on this too. I've already talked about the primary and the secondary sources, and scholarly or academic journals and trade or professional journals. I'm going to ask you later on to in your research uh, to look for certain things. But for this week, we're just going to try to get the information um, about what is the goal, why is it important to have this goal, and what are some possible solutions for the goal. That's what you're looking for this week. Wikipedia is not a reliable source. I'm not going to read that to you, but this is language from the Wikipedia website itself. It's telling you why it's not a reliable source, and you cannot use Wikipedia for a college academic paper. These are just some things. If this is one of the goals that you've chosen here, health, education, gender equality, whatever, I found some secondary sources that I liked, but you'll have to see if you'll have to click on them and see if it's anything you can use. If it's not, then that's not for you. Then you just go ahead and find your own source for that. It's just, I threw them up there because I looked them up one day. And I really like this site, World News, news from around the world. It says below, get informed about what's happening on this planet. Below there's a list of carefully picked links to news sources around the world. You'll be able to catch up with what is happening on this planet straight away. We help you to find out the truth, believe me. Learn to read between the lines and hone your critical thinking. And I really like that too. And I really love this too. The most dangerous worldviews are the worldviews of those who have never viewed the world. We're going to actually view the world when we're doing this paper. You are not writing about what's going on in the United States. You may not write about what's going on in the United States. If you're going to choose education as your goal, lack of education, of course, is the problem. And we're not going to write about building bigger and better schools and paying teachers more and all this stuff about the United States. We're not doing that. You're going to look at the areas of the world where children have trouble going to school, where there are not any schools, or where there are barely any sources or resources at all to help people learn, or in areas, there are some areas where women are not allowed to be educated. Those are the things you're going to hone in for this research paper, not bigger classrooms and better pay for teachers in the United States. No, no, no. We're going to focus on the globe and the areas of the globe that are the worst with the problem. All right, so that is a good place for you to look, and just look for some things there. You might find some things here. I'm not guaranteeing that you will, but it's a really interesting site anyway. So maybe if you just want to look at this country that you're going to be writing about and see where it is and all that. Anyway, that's it. World News, international newspapers online. It's from Nations online, and I find it very interesting. You may or may not. I don't know. But again, all right, here's what you're doing for homework then. Project 3, Topic, Background, and Possible Solutions Journal. Which global goal are you choosing? One of the first 16. Give a short summary of what the global issue is, the problem. This is an issue is another word for problem, and why the goal to make it better is important. You'll use this information in your introduction and background paragraph, and then find at least 3 possible solutions that can help meet the goals. Look at the specific targets of the goal on the Global Goals website to get that information. And this is not going to be carved in stone. And so if you decide to change your mind after this and do something else, that is permissible. But what I won't allow you to do is sink yourself by getting halfway through this research paper and then wanting to change your mind and do a different goal. I'm not going to let you do that. This is an assignment in one course in the rest of your life. And let's just do it and not worry about that you've lost interest in it or whatever. I don't know why people want to change, but I'm not going to let you change. All right, so that is what you're doing for this week, this journal. And you're going to have to do your research in order to do the journal. So if you have any problems, if you have any questions, just get back in touch with me, and I'll try to help you as much as I can. If you're really stuck on something, let me know so I can figure out how to help you get past that. This assignment is going to be fun and interesting. You're going to learn a lot, and I think you'll have a whole different picture of the globe, the whole world, and how everything affects everything else in the world. So just let me know if you need help, and I will see you next time.